Have you ever laid in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, while your mind runs a marathon you never signed up for? One thought crashes into another. A replay of an awkward conversation, a worry about tomorrow's meeting, a sudden wave of self-doubt. It feels like you're trying to run 20 browser tabs in your brain at once, each one playing a different, chaotic video. You feel mentally exhausted before your day has even begun. You're not alone. In our hyper-connected, high-pressure world, this mental static has become the background noise of our lives. We treat it as normal, but it's not. It's a sign that our minds, our greatest assets, are cluttered, overwhelmed, and in desperate need of a detox. Imagine waking up not with a groan, but with a sense of calm clarity. Imagine moving through your day with focus, making decisions with confidence, and ending your evening with a feeling of peace, not anxiety. This isn't a fantasy. It's the result of intentionally clearing out the mental toxins that hold you back. It's about taking back control from the endless scroll, the inner critic, and the weight of yesterday. It's about giving your mind the space it needs to breathe, to create and to thrive. This is your guide to that process. This is your manual for a mental reset. If you're ready to make a change, stick with me. And if you find value in what you hear today, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content that can help you transform your life. Now let's begin. Chapter 1. The Inner Garden. Identifying your mental weeds. Picture your mind as a vast, fertile garden. This garden has the potential to grow anything you desire. Towering trees of success, vibrant flowers of joy, and deep roots of inner peace. Every single day, seeds are planted in this garden. Some are planted by you, with intention. Others are blown in by the winds of the world. A stray comment from a coworker, a headline on the news, an image on social media. What you choose to water, what you nurture, will grow. But what happens when you don't tend to the garden? Weeds begin to sprout. These are your mental weeds, the insidious toxins that choke the life out of your potential. They grow quietly at first, but if left unchecked, they can overrun the entire landscape of your mind. A mental detox begins not with pulling, but with identifying. You cannot remove a weed you do not recognize. The first and most common weed is negative self-talk. This is the relentless inner critic, the voice that whispers, "You're not good enough. You'll never succeed. You always mess things up." It disguises itself as realism or self-protection, but it is a poison. Think of a young entrepreneur named David. He had a brilliant idea for an app, but every time he sat down to work, the voice in his head would start its attack. Someone has probably already done this, and better, it would say. You don't have the skills to pull this off. Slowly, his passion withered. The weeds of self-doubt grew so thick that his brilliant idea was choked before it could ever see the light of day. This weed doesn't need external validation. It thrives in the dark, fed by your own insecurities. The next invasive species is fear-based thinking. Fear is a primal instinct designed to protect us from physical danger, a saber-toothed tiger in the bushes. But in the modern world, our tigers are imaginary. We are paralyzed by the fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of change. A woman named Maria dreamed of leaving her stable but soul-crushing corporate job to become a painter. The fear, however, was a fortress around her ambition. What if I can't pay my bills? What will my family think? What if no one buys my art? These what-ifs are the weeds of fear. They create a future of failure that doesn't exist, preventing you from ever taking the first step toward a future of fulfillment. Fear keeps you rooted in a place of safety, but nothing beautiful ever grows in the comfort zone. Then there is the tangled vine of comparison. In the age of social media, this weed has become an epidemic. You scroll through a curated highlight reel of someone else's life, their promotions, their perfect vacations, their flawless relationships, and you feel your own life dim in comparison. It's like trying to grow a sunflower in a garden where you're constantly told it should be a rose. A recent graduate, Liam, fell deep into this trap. He saw his friends landing high-paying jobs and felt like a failure for taking a lower-paying role in a field he was passionate about. The joy of his own journey was stolen by the shadow of someone else's. Comparison is the thief of joy because it forces you to measure your unique, messy, beautiful path against a photoshopped illusion. Finally, we have the toxic pollen of external negativity. This is carried on the winds from toxic relationships, a draining work environment, or a constant diet of negative news. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If those people are constant complainers, critics, or manipulators, their negativity will seep into your soil. Think about it. Have you ever left a conversation feeling completely drained, as if your energy was siphoned away? That is the effect of external negativity. It changes the very pH of your mental soil, making it acidic and inhospitable to growth. So take a moment right now. Walk through your inner garden. What weeds do you see? Is it the sharp thorn of self-criticism, the strangling vine of fear, the shadow of comparison, the acidic soil of negativity? Don't judge what you find. Simply acknowledge it. The first step to a beautiful garden is knowing what needs to be pulled. In the chapters to come, we will learn how to pull them one by one and plant something beautiful in their place. Chapter 2. The Weight of Yesterday. Releasing Emotional Clutter. Imagine you're setting out on a long, arduous hike up a mountain that represents your future. But strapped to your back is a heavy, overstuffed pack. Inside this pack, you're not carrying food or water. You're carrying rocks. Each rock has a label. A mistake you made 5 years ago. A harsh word someone said to you in high school. A relationship that ended badly. A missed opportunity. With every step forward, the weight of these rocks digs into your shoulders, slowing you down, exhausting you. You can't appreciate the view or enjoy the journey because you're too busy struggling under the load. This backpack is your emotional clutter. It is the accumulated weight of yesterday, and it is holding you back from reaching the summit of tomorrow. Letting go of this weight is not a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate act of strength. It is a conscious decision to stop allowing your past to poison your present. So many of us believe that holding on to pain, regret, or anger somehow protects us. We think that if we constantly replay a mistake, we won't make it again. If we hold a grudge, we are somehow punishing the person who wronged us. But this is a profound illusion. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. The only person you are hurting is yourself. Consider the story of a man named Marcus. He was betrayed in a business partnership a decade ago and lost a significant amount of money. For 10 years, that betrayal was the central story of his life. He replayed every detail, fueling his resentment. He became bitter, mistrustful, and closed off. His new business ventures failed because he couldn't trust anyone. The rock of resentment in his backpack had grown into a boulder, crushing his ability to move forward. One day, a mentor asked him, "Is the man who betrayed you still thinking about you every day?" Marcus realized the answer was no. He was the only one still living in that prison of the past. The moment he chose to forgive, not for the other man's sake, but for his own, was the moment he finally unstrapped the backpack. Forgiveness didn't erase what happened, but it released its power over him. It was a declaration: your actions will no longer occupy space in my mind. Regret is another heavy stone. It's the ghost of what could have been. We replay choices, wishing we could go back and do things differently. But regret is a trap. It keeps you anchored in a past you cannot change, stealing energy from the present you can. The antidote to regret is not to forget, but to reframe. Ask yourself not, "Why did I do that?" but rather, "What did I learn from that?" Every mistake, every misstep, is a lesson in disguise. A young woman named Chloe dropped out of college and for years was haunted by the regret of not finishing her degree. It became a source of deep shame. But when she finally reframed it, she saw that leaving school had forced her to develop resilience, a strong work ethic, and real-world skills she never would have learned in a classroom. The failure she regretted had actually forged the very strengths that led to her eventual success as an entrepreneur. She didn't change the past. She changed the story she told herself about it. So how do you begin to unpack this emotional clutter? It starts with a conscious inventory. Sit with yourself and ask, what am I still carrying? What old hurts, regrets, or resentments are taking up space in my mind? A powerful technique is to write them down. Externalize the pain. Write a letter to someone you need to forgive, even if you never send it. Pour out all the anger, the sadness, the disappointment. Then, at the end, write, "I release you. I release this pain. I choose peace." This is not a magical cure, but a powerful symbolic act of letting go. Remember, releasing emotional clutter isn't about pretending the past didn't happen. It's about accepting that it did and refusing to let it define who you are today. It's about understanding that your past was a classroom, not a life sentence. Every rock you carry is a choice. You can continue to haul them up the mountain, or you can choose right now to set them down and walk on, lighter and freer than ever before. Chapter 3. Escaping the Thought Spiral. The Art of Taming an Overactive Mind. Your mind is a magnificent tool. It can solve complex problems, create breathtaking art, and envision a future that doesn't yet exist. But when that same tool turns against you, it can become a prison. This is the experience of overthinking. It's not productive thinking. It's a destructive thought spiral. It's like a hamster on a wheel, a lot of motion, a lot of energy spent. But you end up exactly where you started, stuck. Productive thinking moves you toward a solution. Overthinking keeps you fixated on the problem. It dissects every word of a past conversation. It games out 100 worst-case scenarios for a future event, and it paralyzes you with an endless analysis of every possible choice. It's mental noise, a frantic buzz that drowns out your intuition, your confidence, and your peace. Think of Sarah, a talented programmer. She was offered a promotion, a fantastic opportunity. But her mind went into overdrive. What if I'm not ready? What if my team doesn't respect me? What if I fail and everyone sees it? For 2 weeks, she was trapped in this spiral. She analyzed every angle, made pro and con lists that stretched for pages, and asked everyone she knew for their opinion. The more she thought, the more anxious and uncertain she became. The opportunity, which should have been a source of excitement, became a source of terror. This is the danger of overthinking. It turns potential into peril. It's paralysis by analysis. So how do we escape this spiral? The first step is to recognize that you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are simply mental events passing through your awareness, like clouds passing in the sky. You don't have to cling to every single one. When you notice the spiral beginning, the first and most powerful thing you can do is label it. Say to yourself, here is overthinking. This simple act of observation creates a small gap between you and the thought. In that gap lies your freedom. You are no longer the hamster on the wheel. You are the observer watching the hamster. Once you've created that space, you need a pattern interrupt. The overthinking mind is stuck in a loop. To break it, you must do something to change your state. One of the most effective interrupts is the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. Right where you are, name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This technique forces your brain out of the abstract world of worries and back into the concrete reality of the present moment. The spiral cannot survive in the now. Another powerful strategy is to set a worry timer. Instead of letting anxiety bleed into every hour of your day, schedule a specific time to think about your problems. Say, from 4 to 4:15 p.m. every day. If a worry pops up at 10 a.m., tell yourself, "Thank you for the reminder, mind. I'll deal with that during my scheduled worry time." What you'll often find is that by the time 4 p.m. rolls around, the problem that seemed so monumental in the morning has either resolved itself or seems far less intimidating. This contains the chaos instead of letting it run wild. You must also learn to challenge the stories your overthinking mind tells you. Our brains are wired with a negativity bias. They are designed to look for threats. An overactive mind takes this to the extreme, acting like a catastrophic storyteller. When it presents you with a worst-case scenario, ask it 3 simple questions. 1. Is this thought actually true? What is the evidence for it? 2. What is a more realistic or positive outcome? 3. What is one small, actionable step I can take right now to move forward, instead of just thinking about it? Action is the ultimate antidote to overthinking. Sarah, the programmer, was stuck until her friend told her, "You can't think your way into confidence. You have to act your way into it." She decided to accept the promotion. The moment she took action, the spiral broke. Was she still nervous? Of course. But the energy she had been wasting on worry was now being channeled into learning, leading, and proving her inner critic wrong. Taming an overactive mind is a practice, not a perfect science. It requires you to become a conscious guardian of your mental space. It means choosing to be the calm center of the storm, rather than the leaf tossed about in the wind. Remember, your mind should be your greatest ally, not your loudest tormentor. It's time to quiet the noise and reclaim your peace. Chapter 4. The Digital Deluge, Reclaiming Your Focus in a World of Distraction. We live in an age of unprecedented access to information. The entirety of human knowledge is in our pockets. We can connect with people across the globe in an instant, but this incredible gift has a hidden cost. We are drowning in a digital deluge, a constant, overwhelming flood of notifications, emails, headlines, and updates that is hijacking our attention and rewiring our brains. Think of your attention as a spotlight. In a calm, focused state, you can shine that spotlight brightly on one single task: a conversation, a project, a book. You can achieve a state of flow where time seems to disappear and your best work emerges. But in our modern world, The digital deluge acts like 1,000 hands, all trying to pull that spotlight in different directions. A notification dings. A new email arrives. A breaking news alert flashes across your screen. Your spotlight becomes fractured, flickering from one thing to another, never settling long enough to illuminate anything meaningful. The result is mental exhaustion, anxiety, and a chronic, low-grade feeling of being overwhelmed. This isn't a failure of your willpower. It's a battle against a system designed to capture your attention. Social media algorithms, news sites, and apps are engineered to be addictive. They thrive on keeping you scrolling, clicking, and refreshing, feeding you a drip of dopamine that keeps you coming back for more. We have become consumers of distraction. Consider the experience of a university student, Maya. She would sit down to study for her exams, full of good intentions. But her phone was on the desk beside her. A message from a friend, a quick check of Instagram, an interesting article that led to another, and then another. Before she knew it, an hour had passed, and she had accomplished nothing. She felt anxious, guilty, and even more stressed. Her brain was overstimulated and fragmented. It's like trying to fill a bucket with water while it's riddled with holes. The effort is immense, but the result is negligible. Reclaiming your focus requires a conscious, intentional digital detox. This is not about abandoning technology and living in a cave. It's about transforming your relationship with it, shifting from being a passive consumer to a mindful user. It's about putting yourself back in the driver's seat. The first, most impactful step is to curate your digital environment. Start with your phone. Turn off all non-essential notifications. Do you really need to know the instant someone likes your photo or a store is having a sale? Each notification is a tiny interruption, a crack in your focus. Together, they shatter it completely. Go through your apps. If you haven't used an app in a month, delete it. Unsubscribe from email newsletters that you never read. Unfollow social media accounts that make you feel inadequate, anxious, or angry. Your digital space should serve you, not drain you. Next, create sacred, screen-free zones and times. The dining table is for connection, not for scrolling. The bedroom is for rest, not for refreshing your feed. The blue light from screens disrupts melatonin production, sabotaging your sleep quality. Make it a rule: no screens for at least an hour before bed. Instead, read a book, listen to calming music, or talk with a loved one. When you wake up, resist the urge to grab your phone immediately. Give your mind at least 30 minutes to awaken gently, without the immediate influx of the world's demands and anxieties. Embrace the power of single tasking. Our culture glorifies multitasking, but neuroscience tells us it's a myth. The brain doesn't do two things at once. It switches rapidly between them, and each switch comes with a cognitive cost. When you need to do important work, close all other tabs. Put your phone in another room. Set a timer for 25 or 50 minutes and commit to focusing on that one task. You will be astonished at what you can accomplish when your spotlight of attention is finally allowed to shine, unbroken. Finally, schedule time for intentional disconnection. Take a digital Sabbath one day a week, or even for a few hours. Go for a walk in nature without your phone. Have a conversation where you give the other person your full, undivided attention. Allow yourself to be bored. Boredom is not a void to be filled with digital noise. It is the fertile ground where creativity, self-reflection, and new ideas are born. A digital detox is not a one-time fix. It's an ongoing practice of mindful consumption. It's about asking yourself, is this technology serving my goals, or am I serving its algorithm? By curating your inputs and protecting your attention, you are not just escaping the noise. You are creating the quiet space necessary for deep thought, meaningful connection, and a truly focused life. You are reclaiming your mind. Chapter 5. Rewriting your inner script. Mastering the voice in your head. Inside your mind, a narrator is telling a story, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This narrator is you. The story it tells is the story of your life. For many of us, this narrator is not a kind one. It's a harsh critic, a relentless judge, a fearful fortune teller who always predicts disaster. It's the voice that replays your mistakes on a loop, magnifies your flaws, and dismisses your achievements. This inner script, your self-talk, is the single most powerful force shaping your reality. If the story you tell yourself is one of limitation, inadequacy, and fear, that is the life you will live. Mastering this voice, rewriting your inner script, is the cornerstone of a true mental detox. It's about becoming the conscious author of your own story, not just a passive listener. The first step, as always, is awareness. You have to start listening to the narrator. For one day, carry a small notebook or use a notes app and track your self-talk. Pay attention to the automatic thoughts that arise when you make a mistake, face a challenge, or look in the mirror. Write them down without judgment. You might be shocked at how cruel your inner critic is. Phrases like, "I'm such an idiot," "I can never do anything right," or, "Of course I failed," might be so common that you don't even notice them anymore. They have become your mental background music. Once you have identified the negative script, the next step is to challenge it. Your thoughts are not facts. They are opinions, habits of mind, often formed from old experiences or beliefs you inherited from others. You must become a gentle but firm detective, questioning the validity of these thoughts. Let's say you make a mistake at work, and the immediate thought is, "I always mess everything up." Challenge that thought. Ask yourself, is it really true that I always mess everything up? Can I think of times I've succeeded? The answer is, of course, yes. This breaks the power of the absolute statement. Then, reframe the thought. A reframe is not a lie or a hollow affirmation. It's a more accurate, more compassionate, and more empowering version of the truth. Instead of, "I always mess everything up," a powerful reframe would be, "I made a mistake, which is human. I will learn from this and do better next time." This shifts the narrative from one of identity, "I am a failure," to one of action and growth, "I am learning." Think of a young artist named Elena. She would finish a painting, and her inner critic would immediately tear it apart. "The colors are wrong. The perspective is off. No one will like this." For years, this script kept her from ever showing her work. She began practicing the challenge and reframe technique. When the critic said, "The colors are wrong," she would challenge it. "Wrong according to who? This is my interpretation." Then she would reframe it. "I made a bold color choice that expresses my vision." It was a slow process, but with each reframe, she was rewriting the script. She was taking the pen back from the critic. Affirmations are another powerful tool for rewriting your script. An affirmation is a positive statement, declared in the present tense, that helps to reprogram your subconscious mind. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. When you repeatedly tell it something, it begins to accept it as truth. But here's the key. Affirmations work best when they feel believable to you. If you're deep in self-doubt, saying, "I am a phenomenal success," might feel like a lie and create resistance. Start with what feels true. Maybe it's, "I am learning to believe in myself," or "I am capable of taking the next step," or "I am getting stronger every day." Write these affirmations down, say them out loud in the mirror. Put them on sticky notes where you will see them throughout the day. You are planting new seeds in your mental garden. At first, the old weeds of negativity will try to choke them out. But with consistent watering, with repetition, these new seeds will grow roots. They will grow stronger until eventually they become the dominant plants in your garden. Finally, practice self-compassion. This is perhaps the most important element. Ask yourself, would I ever talk to a friend the way I talk to myself? The answer, for most of us, is a resounding no. We would offer a friend kindness, encouragement, and understanding. Self-compassion is about turning that same kindness inward. When you fail, when you feel inadequate, treat yourself as you would a dear friend. Give yourself grace. Acknowledge your humanity. Rewriting your inner script is not about creating a fantasy world where you never have negative thoughts. It's about changing your relationship with them. It's about ensuring the dominant voice in your head is a coach, not a critic, a champion, not a saboteur. Your life story is being written every single day. Make sure you are the one holding the pen. Chapter 6. The Unseen Fences Forging Strong Mental Boundaries. Imagine your mind is a beautiful, serene home. It's a place where you feel safe, peaceful, and creative. Now imagine you leave the front door wide open 24/7. Anyone can wander in. A stressed-out coworker who wants to dump their problems on you. A critical family member with unsolicited advice. The constant noise of social media arguments. The demands of your boss at 10 p.m. Soon, your peaceful home is chaotic, messy, and loud. You feel drained, overwhelmed, and like you have no space to call your own. This is what happens when you lack healthy mental boundaries. Boundaries are the unseen fences you build around your mind and your energy. They are not walls to shut people out. They are gates that allow you to consciously choose who and what you let in. They are a profound act of self-respect, a declaration that your peace of mind is a priority. One of the biggest signs that you need stronger boundaries is chronic emotional exhaustion. Do you have certain people in your life who, after every interaction, leave you feeling like you've run a marathon? These are often called energy vampires. They thrive on drama, negativity, and complaining, and they use you as a sounding board, siphoning your positive energy. Setting a boundary with such a person doesn't mean you have to cut them out of your life entirely. It might mean limiting the time you spend with them. It might mean changing the subject when they start their negative spiral. It might be as simple as saying, "I can tell you're going through a lot, but I only have the mental space for a positive conversation right now." A huge part of building these fences is mastering the art of saying no. For so many of us, especially people pleasers, no feels like a four-letter word. We say yes to projects we don't have time for, social events we don't want to attend, and requests that drain us, all because we fear disappointing others or being seen as selfish. But here is a critical truth. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your priorities, you are saying no to something that does. You are saying no to your rest, no to your own projects, no to your peace of mind. Think of a freelance graphic designer named Kevin. He was talented and kind, and he could never say no. Clients would ask for endless revisions at all hours. Friends would ask for free work. His own passion projects sat collecting dust. He was constantly stressed, burnt out, and resentful. His journey to sanity began with one small no. A client emailed him at 9 p.m. with an urgent request. Instead of jumping on it, he took a deep breath and wrote back, "Thank you for the notes. I will address them first thing during my business hours tomorrow." It felt terrifying. He expected an angry reply. Instead, the client simply wrote, "Sounds good." Kevin realized that he had been teaching people how to treat him. By always being available, he had taught them that his time wasn't valuable. By setting a boundary, he began to reteach them. Your boundaries must also extend to the digital world. You need to put up a fence against the 24/7 demands of work. It is not healthy or sustainable to be checking emails from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. Set clear work hours and stick to them. Turn off work notifications on your phone after hours. You are not a machine. You require time to disconnect and recharge. Protecting your personal time is not a luxury. It is essential for long-term productivity and mental health. Setting boundaries can be uncomfortable at first, especially with family and longtime friends. People who are used to having unlimited access to your time and energy may push back. They may call you selfish or difficult. This is a test. It is crucial in these moments to hold firm, calmly, and respectfully. You can say, "I love you, but I can't discuss that topic with you because it's not healthy for me." Or, "I'd love to help, but I'm at my limit right now and need to prioritize my own well-being." Remember, you are not responsible for other people's reactions to your boundaries. You are only responsible for setting them and upholding them. Building these unseen fences is an ongoing process. It requires self-awareness to know when you feel drained and courage to protect your energy. But the result is a life where your inner home is once again a sanctuary, a place of peace, focus, and strength, where you are the one who decides what comes through the gate. Chapter 7. The Anchor of Now, Harnessing Mindfulness and Meditation. In the chaotic ocean of modern life, our minds are often like a small boat caught in a storm. The winds of past regrets whip us one way, while the towering waves of future anxieties threaten to capsize us. We are tossed and turned, completely at the mercy of the elements, with no sense of control or stability. Mindfulness and meditation are not about stopping the storm. The storm will always be there. They are about building an anchor that you can drop at any moment, that will hold you steady and secure in the calm depths beneath the turbulent surface. That anchor is the present moment. Many people are intimidated by meditation. They picture a monk sitting in perfect silence for hours, their mind a complete blank slate. They try it for 5 minutes, find their mind is still racing with thoughts about their to-do list and what to have for dinner, and conclude, "I'm bad at this." This is the biggest misconception about meditation. The goal of meditation is not to stop your thoughts. That's impossible. The goal is to change your relationship with them. It is the practice of observing your thoughts without getting swept away by them. Imagine you're sitting on the bank of a river. The thoughts are like leaves floating by on the current. Before mindfulness, you would jump into the river and grab onto every single leaf, examining it, wrestling with it, and being carried downstream by it. Mindfulness practice teaches you to simply sit on the bank and watch the leaves float by. A thought of worry appears. You notice it, label it worry, and let it float on. A thought of planning appears. You notice it, label it planning, and let it float on. You are not the thoughts. You are the awareness watching the thoughts. This practice creates a space, a pause between a thought and your reaction to it. In that space lies your peace. A simple way to begin is with your breath. Your breath is the perfect anchor because it is always with you and it is always in the present moment. Find a quiet place, close your eyes, and simply bring your attention to the sensation of your breath. Feel the air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and the gentle fall of your chest as you exhale. Your mind will wander. That is not a failure. It is what minds do. The moment you notice it has wandered, gently and without judgment, guide it back to your breath. That moment of returning, that is the practice. Every time you bring your attention back, you are strengthening your focus muscle. Consider a high-stress professional, a lawyer named Ben. His mind was a battlefield of case details, deadlines, and client pressures. He was constantly anxious and irritable. He started a simple 10-minute daily meditation practice. At first, it was torture. His mind was louder than ever. But he stuck with it. Slowly, he began to notice a shift. In the middle of a stressful negotiation, he could feel his heart rate rising and his thoughts starting to spiral. But now, he had a tool. He could mentally take a step back, focus on his breath for just a moment, and observe the chaos without being consumed by it. He was able to respond with clarity instead of reacting with panic. He hadn't stopped the storm of his job, but he had found his anchor. Mindfulness is not just something you do on a cushion for 10 minutes. It's a way of living that you can bring into any moment of your day. It's called informal practice. You can practice mindfulness while washing the dishes, feeling the warm water on your hands and the texture of the sponge. You can practice it while drinking your morning coffee, truly savoring the aroma and the taste, instead of gulping it down while scrolling through your phone. You can practice it while walking, feeling your feet connect with the ground. This practice of bringing your full attention to the now has a profound effect. It pulls you out of the mental chatter of the past and future. It reduces stress because most stress comes from worrying about things that aren't actually happening right now. It allows you to experience your life more richly and deeply. Start small. Commit to just 5 minutes a day. Use a guided meditation app if it helps. The key is consistency. Meditation is not a quick fix. It's a long-term training program for your mind. With each session, you are dropping your anchor, strengthening your ability to remain calm and centered, no matter how fiercely the storms of life may rage. You are learning to find peace not by changing your circumstances, but by changing yourself. Chapter 8. The Power of the Pause. Finding clarity in solitude and reflection. In our culture, busyness is a badge of honor. Our calendars are packed, our phones are buzzing, and our minds are constantly occupied. We have come to fear the quiet moments, the empty spaces in our day. When we find ourselves with a moment alone, our first instinct is to fill it. With a podcast, with music, with social media, with anything to avoid the silence. We have conflated solitude with loneliness, but they are not the same. Loneliness is the pain of being alone. Solitude is the glory of being alone. It is an intentional, chosen state of being with yourself, and it is one of the most powerful and neglected tools for mental clarity and personal growth. Imagine your mind is a glass of water filled with silt and dirt, constantly being shaken. The water is murky, and you can't see through it. This is your mind in its everyday state, agitated by external input, other people's opinions, and constant demands. You can't hear your own intuition. You can't see your true priorities because everything is clouded. Solitude is the act of setting that glass of water down and letting it be still. Slowly, inevitably, the silt settles to the bottom and the water becomes clear. In the stillness, you can finally see reflection is the engine of growth. We learn not from experience, but from reflecting on experience. Yet, we race from one thing to the next, never pausing to integrate the lessons. Think of an entrepreneur, Jessica, whose first business failed. She was devastated. Her immediate instinct was to jump into a new project, to prove she wasn't a failure. But a mentor advised her to pause, to take 2 weeks of true solitude. No work, minimal social media, just herself, a journal, and long walks. At first it was excruciating. All the feelings of failure and self-doubt came rushing to the surface. But as she sat with them, as she wrote about them, the water began to clear. She reflected on what went wrong, not with blame, but with curiosity. She saw her mistakes in strategy, her weaknesses in leadership, the warnings she had ignored. By the end of the 2 weeks, the failure was no longer a source of shame. It was her greatest teacher. The insights she gained in that period of reflection became the very foundation for the success of her next, far more successful, venture. So how do you practice this? It's about carving out intentional time to be alone with your thoughts. It doesn't have to be a 2-week retreat. It can be 15 minutes in the morning before anyone else wakes up. It can be a walk in the park during your lunch break, without your phone. It can be an hour on a Sunday afternoon dedicated to journaling. The key is the intention. This is my time to connect with myself. During this time of solitude, journaling is your most powerful ally. It is the conversation you have with yourself on paper. Ask yourself deep questions. What is bringing me energy right now, and what is draining it? What am I tolerating in my life that I need to address? If fear were not a factor, what would I do? What lesson is life trying to teach me right now? Writing the answers down forces a level of clarity that simply thinking cannot achieve. It takes the jumbled thoughts from your mind and gives them structure. Solitude also builds self-reliance. When you are constantly surrounded by others, you can become dependent on them for validation, for entertainment, for problem-solving. When you learn to be comfortable in your own company, you discover a deep well of strength and resourcefulness within you. You learn to trust your own voice, your own intuition. You stop looking outside for answers and start listening to the wisdom that is already inside you. Embracing solitude will feel uncomfortable at first, because we have been conditioned to see it as unproductive. But it is the most productive thing you can do for your mental well-being. It is where you untangle the knots in your thinking. It is where you hear the quiet whispers of your heart. It is where you separate your own desires from the expectations of the world. It is where you find the clarity to chart your own course, not the one that has been prescribed for you. So I challenge you. Find a small pocket of time in the next few days. Turn off the noise, put away the phone, and just be with yourself. Let the water in the glass settle. See what becomes clear when you give yourself the gift of a powerful pause. Chapter 9. The Mind's Blueprint. Reprogramming your subconscious for success. Beneath the surface of your conscious mind, the part that thinks, worries, and makes decisions, lies a vast, powerful, and largely hidden realm, your subconscious. If your conscious mind is the captain of your ship, shouting orders and steering the wheel, your subconscious mind is the massive crew in the engine room, running the ship's complex machinery according to a set of pre-written instructions. It controls your habits, your automatic reactions, your emotional triggers, and your deeply held beliefs about yourself and the world. The startling truth is that up to 95% of your life is run not by your conscious intentions, but by this subconscious programming. This programming, this blueprint, was largely written in your childhood. It was formed by what you heard, what you saw, and what you experienced. If you grew up hearing that money is the root of all evil, you might subconsciously sabotage your own financial success as an adult. If you were criticized often, your blueprint might contain the belief, "I am not good enough," causing you to shy away from opportunities. These are not conscious choices. They are the automatic execution of an old program. To truly change your life, you cannot just work at the conscious level. You have to go deeper. You have to become a programmer and rewrite the code on the blueprint. This is the essence of reprogramming your subconscious mind. One of the most powerful languages the subconscious understands is visualization. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. This is why you can feel your heart race during a scary movie, even though you consciously know it's not real. Elite athletes have used this for decades. A basketball player will visualize, with intense detail, the ball leaving their hands and swishing through the net, hundreds of times before ever stepping on the court. They are programming their nervous system for success. You can do the same. Think of a goal you have. Let's say it's to deliver a confident presentation at work. Find a quiet time each day, close your eyes, and visualize the entire experience as if it were happening right now. Don't just see it, feel it. See the confident posture of your body. Hear the clear, strong tone of your voice. Feel the sense of pride and accomplishment as your colleagues applaud. Feel the handshake of your boss afterward. The more sensory detail and emotion you bring to your visualization, the more real it becomes to your subconscious. You are creating a new memory of a future event, writing a new line of code that says, "I am a confident speaker." The second language of the subconscious is repetition, which is where affirmations come in. As we discussed earlier, affirmations are positive statements, but to truly reprogram the subconscious, they must be delivered with consistency and emotion. Your old negative programming has been running on a loop for years, even decades. A new positive program needs to be run just as consistently to overwrite it. Consider a man named Tom, who wanted to start his own business, but was paralyzed by a subconscious belief that he was not a risk taker. Every morning and every evening, he began a simple practice. He would look in the mirror, make eye contact with himself, and say out loud with as much feeling as he could muster, "I am courageous and resourceful. I take smart, calculated risks that lead to success." At first, it felt ridiculous. His conscious mind scoffed, but he persisted. Day after day, week after week, he was hammering a new belief into his subconscious. After a few months, he noticed a change. He found himself speaking up in meetings, proposing new ideas, and finally, taking the first concrete steps to draft his business plan. The new program was beginning to run. The moments just before you fall asleep and just after you wake up are golden opportunities for reprogramming. In these states, your conscious mind's defenses are down, and your subconscious is highly receptive. Listening to a recording of your affirmations or a guided visualization during this time can be incredibly effective. You are planting seeds in the most fertile soil. This process is not about magic. It is about neuroscience. Every time you visualize, every time you repeat an affirmation, You are creating and strengthening new neural pathways in your brain. You are literally rewiring your hardware. The old pathways of doubt and fear begin to prune away from lack of use, while the new pathways of confidence and belief grow stronger and more dominant. This is deep work. It requires patience and persistence. You are rewriting a lifetime of programming. But know this: your blueprint is not set in stone. You are not a victim of your past programming. You are the programmer. You have the power to delete the old code that no longer serves you and write a new, brilliant, and empowering script for your life. And that new script will, in time, become your new reality. Chapter 10. The Foundation of Focus. Fueling your mind and body. We often treat our minds as if they exist in a vacuum, separate from our physical bodies. We try to think our way to clarity, to will ourselves to focus, all while ignoring the very biological machine that powers our thoughts. This is like trying to run a high-performance race car on cheap, dirty fuel and then wondering why it's sputtering and stalling. Your brain is a physical organ, and its performance is directly tied to your physical health. A true mental detox is incomplete without addressing the foundation, the nutrition and lifestyle choices that either fuel your clarity or create your fog. Let's start with the most basic element: water. Your brain is approximately 75% water. Even mild dehydration can cause brain fog, fatigue, headaches, and a significant drop in concentration. You wouldn't expect a plant to thrive without water, yet we often expect our brains to. Before you diagnose yourself with a focus problem, ask yourself a simple question: have I had enough water today? Making a conscious effort to stay hydrated is one of the simplest and most effective ways to boost your mental performance. Next, consider the fuel you're putting in the tank. Your brain is incredibly energy-intensive, consuming about 20% of your body's calories. But the quality of those calories matters immensely. A diet high in refined sugars and processed foods is like a flash fire. It gives you a quick spike of energy, the sugar rush, followed by a dramatic crash, leaving you feeling lethargic, irritable, and unable to think clearly. It creates a roller coaster of blood sugar that your brain cannot handle. Think of a writer named Lisa. She would try to write in the afternoon, fueled by a sugary latte and a pastry. For about 30 minutes, she'd feel a burst of energy, but then the inevitable crash would hit. She'd feel foggy, unmotivated, and would stare at a blank page for an hour. She thought she had writer's block. What she actually had was a fuel problem. When she switched her afternoon snack to a handful of walnuts and an apple, a combination of healthy fats, fiber, and natural sugars, the change was dramatic. She had sustained, stable energy that allowed her to write with focus for hours. Your brain is built from fat. Specifically, omega-3 fatty acids are critical for building brain cells and maintaining cognitive function. Foods like salmon, walnuts, flax seeds, and chia seeds are literally brain food. They help improve memory, reduce inflammation, and support overall mental health. Conversely, a diet lacking these healthy fats can leave your brain struggling to perform at its best. But it's not just about what you eat, it's about how you move. Exercise is one of the most potent mental clarifiers available. When you engage in physical activity, you increase blood flow to the brain, delivering more oxygen and nutrients. You also trigger the release of endorphins, your body's natural mood elevators, and a protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, which acts like fertilizer for your brain cells, helping you learn and form new memories. You don't have to run a marathon. Even a brisk 20-minute walk can have a profound impact. clearing away mental cobwebs and boosting creativity. And then there is sleep. Sleep is not a luxury. It is a non-negotiable biological necessity for mental health. While you sleep, your brain is hard at work. It's like a night crew coming in to clean and repair the city. A process called the glymphatic system clears out metabolic waste and toxins that build up in your brain during the day. Your brain consolidates memories, processing the day's events. When you shortchange sleep, you are skipping this critical maintenance. The result is a brain that starts the day already cluttered, slow, and inefficient. Prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep is one of the most important things you can do for your mental clarity. Your body and mind are not separate entities. They are a deeply interconnected system. You cannot have a clear mind in a neglected body. By hydrating properly, fueling yourself with whole foods, moving your body regularly, and prioritizing restorative sleep, you are not just improving your physical health. You are building the very foundation upon which a clear, focused, and resilient mind is built. You are giving your brain the raw materials it needs to operate at its absolute best. Chapter 11. The Architecture of Peace. Simplifying your life and your space. Look around you right now. Look at your desk, your room, your living space. What does it look like? Is it a calm, orderly sanctuary that inspires peace? Or is it a chaotic landscape of clutter, piles of paper, forgotten objects, things you don't use or love? Now turn your attention inward. Look at your schedule, your commitments, your to-do list. Is it a reflection of your deepest priorities? Or is it a jumble of obligations, shoulds, and time fillers? There is a profound and undeniable link between our outer world and our inner world. A cluttered space leads to a cluttered mind. An overcommitted life leads to an overwhelmed soul. The practice of simplifying your life and your space is not about deprivation or stark minimalism. It's about intentionality. It's about consciously designing an environment, both physical and temporal, that supports your mental peace rather than sabotages it. It is the architecture of a tranquil mind. Let's start with your physical space. Every object in your environment competes for a sliver of your attention. Every pile of clutter is a silent, subconscious reminder of a task undone, a decision unmade. Your brain has to constantly process this visual noise, which drains your mental energy and creates a low-level hum of stress. Consider the story of a couple, Mark and Susan. They lived in a house filled with things they had accumulated over 20 years. Every closet was stuffed. Every surface was covered. They felt constantly stressed and argued frequently. They decided to undertake a radical decluttering project. They went through every single item, asking one question: does this add value to my life right now? Not did it once, or might it someday, but does it now? They donated, sold, or discarded over half of their belongings. The effect was astonishing. As the physical space opened up, so did their mental space. They felt lighter, calmer. They had more energy. They started communicating better. By clearing out the physical representation of their past, they had made room for a more peaceful present. The process of decluttering is a powerful metaphor for a mental detox. As you let go of a piece of clothing you haven't worn in years, you are also letting go of the person you once were. As you discard an object you kept out of guilt, you are letting go of an obligation that was weighing you down. It is a physical act with a deep psychological impact. This principle of simplification extends powerfully to your schedule. Many of us suffer from busyness syndrome. We overcommit ourselves, saying yes to everything, believing that a full calendar equals a full life. In reality, it often equals a depleted one. Our energy is a finite resource. When we spread it thinly across a dozen mediocre commitments, we have nothing left for the few that truly matter. The practice of essentialism is the answer. It is not about how to get more things done. It's about how to get the right things done. It means pausing before you say yes to any new commitment and asking, is this truly essential? Does this align with my highest values and goals? If the answer is not a clear, resounding yes, then it should be a graceful but firm no. Simplifying your life means creating white space in your calendar. Time with no agenda. Time to think, to rest, to be spontaneous. It's in these unscheduled moments that creativity sparks and serendipity happens. It means unsubscribing from the cultural pressure to do it all. You don't have to be on every committee, attend every party, or pursue every hobby. You can choose to go deep, not wide. Focus your precious energy on the people, projects, and passions that light you up, and unapologetically let go of the rest. Simplifying your life and your space is an act of liberation. It's about removing the non-essential so that the essential has room to flourish. It's about understanding that peace is not found by adding more, but by subtracting what is unnecessary. When you curate your environment and your time with intention, you are not just cleaning your house or your calendar. You are building the architecture of your own inner peace. Chapter 12. The Evergreen Mindset. Cultivating Gratitude and Lasting Change. We have journeyed through the intricate landscape of the mind. We've learned to identify the weeds of negativity, to release the weight of yesterday, to tame the overactive mind, and to build the foundations of clarity through our lifestyle and our environment. But a detox is not a one-time event. A garden once cleared must be tended to, or the weeds will inevitably return. The final, crucial step is to cultivate an evergreen mindset, a way of being that actively nourishes your mental well-being day in and day out, ensuring that your inner garden remains a vibrant, thriving space. The soil of this evergreen mindset is gratitude. Gratitude is the most powerful emotional and mental shifter available to us. It is a lens through which you can view the world. The human brain is naturally wired with a negativity bias. It is a survival mechanism, constantly scanning for threats, problems, and what's missing. If you let this default programming run your life, you will live in a state of perpetual lack and anxiety. Gratitude is the conscious act of overriding this programming. It is intentionally scanning your life not for what's wrong, but for what's right. Think about it. When you are stuck in traffic, your default mind focuses on the frustration, the delay, the annoyance. A mind trained in gratitude might notice the comfortable seat you're sitting in, the ability to own a car, the music playing on the radio, or the extra 10 minutes you have to listen to an audiobook like this one. The situation hasn't changed, but your experience of it has transformed completely. Scientific studies have shown that a regular gratitude practice can literally rewire your brain. It boosts the production of dopamine and serotonin, the neurotransmitters of happiness. It improves sleep quality, strengthens the immune system, and enhances resilience. It is the single fastest way to shift from a state of stress to a state of peace. So how do you build this practice? The simplest and most profound tool is a gratitude journal. Every single night, before you go to sleep, write down 3 specific things you are grateful for from your day. The key word is specific. Don't just write "my family." Write The way my daughter laughed when we played in the park today. Don't just write my job. Write, the moment my colleague helped me solve that difficult problem, making me feel supported. This specificity forces your brain to relive the positive experience, amplifying its emotional impact. This simple, 5-minute habit trains your brain to become a heat-seeking missile for the good in your life. This evergreen mindset is sustained by building a consistent mind detox routine. Lasting change is not the result of one grand gesture, but the compounding effect of small daily habits. Your routine is your anchor. Your morning routine sets the tone for your entire day. Instead of waking up and immediately flooding your mind with the digital deluge of emails and social media, create a sacred 15 to 30-minute routine for yourself. It could include a few minutes of mindful breathing to center yourself, hydrating with a glass of water, writing in your gratitude journal, reading something positive and uplifting, setting a single clear intention for the day. This creates a proactive, intentional start rather than a reactive, chaotic one. Throughout the day, schedule micro-detox moments. A pause alarm on your phone every 90 minutes that reminds you to stand up, stretch, and take 3 deep breaths. A mindful lunch break away from your desk and your screens. A short walk in the afternoon to clear your head. These are not interruptions to your work. They are investments in the quality of your work and your well-being. Your evening routine is equally important. It's your opportunity to release the day and prepare your mind for restorative sleep. This could include a digital sunset, turning off all screens an hour before bed. A brain dump in a journal, writing down any lingering worries or to-do list items so your mind doesn't have to carry them into the night. Your gratitude practice, gentle stretching or reading. This journey of detoxing your mind is not about achieving a perfect, perpetually blissful state. Life will still have its challenges, its storms, its weeds, but you are no longer a passive victim of your own mind. You are now an active, empowered gardener. You have the tools to identify the weeds, the strength to pull them, and the wisdom to cultivate the beautiful things you want to grow. You have an anchor to hold you steady in the storm. You have fences to protect your peace. You have a blueprint you can rewrite at any time. You are the architect of your inner world. The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. Choose to cultivate a mind that serves you, and you will create a life beyond your wildest dreams.